Pokemon's Generation 3 is already more than 20 years old now. Trust me, I feel just as old saying that as you'll feel hearing it. And as with all things that have become history, elements of it end up forgotten and lost. That's only natural. Especially when the thing in question was already an incredibly niche element during its heyday. I'm talking about the e-reader, a peripheral for the Game Boy Advance that got discontinued after less than 2 years in the West, but actually proved quite a huge success in Japan. As a Pokemon fan, you may know this device best from the TCG, where quite a lot of sets were released with exclusive e-reader support, but the actual Pokemon games also received quite some content through these physical cards, which contained data that the e-reader could read. Kinda like amiibo cards, except earlier and more robust. The e-reader was developed in collaboration by HAL Laboratory, best known for the Kirby series, Olympus, a big player in the health technology sector, and our very own Creatures Inc., 1/3 of the Pokemon company and responsible for the 3D models for the mainline games and handling of the TCG. Knowing that, it's no surprise Pokemon also heavily dipped their toes into the waters of the e-reader, to the point that the device was actually supposed to be called the Pokemon Card e-reader once upon a time, until Nintendo apparently liked the tech and wanted it more broadly used. Eventually, every single Gen 3 mainline game supports it, as well as Pokémon Colosseum, which isn't even on GBA to begin with. More on how that works later, but I want to begin with the first series, the only set of cards that were ever released outside of Japan. As you can already kinda tell from the title of this video, for Pokemon, the vast majority of e-reader content were new, challenging battles from a series known as Pokémon Battle E. It worked by sending trainer data over to your copy of the game, with Series 1 being linked to Ruby and Sapphire. If you'd scan a card, that trainer would appear in a house in Moss Deep City, ready to be battled. Only one could appear at a time though, so you'd have to cycle through them if you wanted to fight them all. Unlike with, say, the TCG, you couldn't buy blisters or packs of these with random cards. They were only sold in sets, which would then always contain the same trainer cards. As you can see here, certain information about the trainers was intentionally left out, so you couldn't fully prepare for what you were about to face. And even though all of these sets have a certain theme to them, only one trainer, the last one in the set, usually follows it. For Solid Armor, the theme is Pokemon whose highest stat is Defense. For Freezing Ray, it's that all 3 Pokemon know Ice Beam. For Seizing Poison, that's Toxic, Hidden Ruins Earthquake, Cordial Bond Return, and in Iron Defense, all Pokemon know Rest. Didn't expect that, did you? The strengths of the teams in these cards could really be all over the place, both level-wise and in terms of Pokemon strength. To give a simple example, the second to last trainer in Solid Armor has a Pichu, Minun and Snorunt. Hardly a huge challenge, even if they're all level 90+, but the last trainer has a level 100 Glalie, Skarmory and Regirock. In fact, every single last trainer in the set has one of the Regis, so all are used twice, which is noteworthy, I'd say. Now, in the West, this story ends here, but in Japan, the releasing of e-reader cards continues for the entirety of Gen 3's life. Ruby and Sapphire even got a second set of cards, the creatively titled Pokémon Battle E Series 2. This second series very much follows the patterns of the original, with the same format of different sets where the last trainer uses a certain theme after which the set is named. This time around you have Sharp Claw, where all Pokemon know Dragon Claw, Cursed Showdown and Curse, Reversal Blow and Reversal, Self-Confidence Not Wasted and Swagger, and the 2 coolest, Battle Without Conclusion, which gives the last trainer a team built for stalling, and Steady Power, where each Pokemon has moves that have negative effects, but also have an ability that nullifies that. Unlike in the first set, the 6 final trainers now don't share Pokemon, and instead use a variety of Hoenn powerhouses. We're talking the 3 starter evolutions, Milotic, Slacking, and of course Metagross. But as big a success as Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire was, its spotlight was about to be taken away a little, only a month after this second series was released. Pokémon Colosseum came to the GameCube and 1 month later had a set of e-reader cards to call its own. Unlike with Ruby and Sapphire, where the house in Moss Deep City was present in all versions, the location where you'd fight the trainers belonging to the Pokémon Colosseum Double Battle E series was only present in the Japanese version of the game. The card E-Room in Phoenix Stadium is cut from the game completely in the Western version and can only be accessed in the Japanese one. The cards for Pokémon Colosseum do work differently from the Ruby and Sapphire edition in several key ways, however. Since Colosseum was on the GameCube and the e-reader on the GBA, you needed a special link cable that would link them together. This adapter had to be bought separately. Also gone are the themes of the sets, of which there are now only 4. The blue, yellow, green and red pack, all of which correspond to nothing. What is new though is that every trainer included comes with 3 different difficulties: easy, normal and hard, giving you essentially triple the amount of battles per pack. But by far the most interesting change is that completing every battle of a certain difficulty will reward you with a new Pokémon to keep. Now, since this is Pokémon Colosseum, you do have to catch it from another trainer's hands, but this is a very cool reward for those that manage to collect every card and beat them. For defeating all easy trainers, the reward was a Shadow Togepi, for normal a Shadow Mareep, and for difficult a Shadow Scizor. Perhaps coincidentally, all these Pokémon would become available through the main story in the sequel, XD Gale of Darkness, which didn't receive any e-reader cards by the way, which means we continue our story with Pokémon's first ever remakes. By the time FireRed and LeafGreen released, the entire e-reader was already a relic of the past in the Western Nintendo sphere, but in Japan it was still going strong. And so, another set of cards for this game only was released 3 months after the games. Unlike the previous 2 iterations, the location where the trainers would show up was also now fully present and functional without requiring you to buy the cards, being the trainer tower on 7 Island. This was basically just a battle tower of sorts in the games, as you and I probably played it, but by using the e-reader, cards could alter the layout of the tower in ways we never got to experience here. Just like with Colosseum, the FireRed and LeafGreen series contained 4 sets of cards, once again without a theme. Instead, the sets were named after the original Gen 1 games as Japan received them, so red, green, blue and yellow. Now, I could now go into detail on what trainers you could fight using the e-reader cards and which Pokémon they had, but the fact of the matter is that you might already know. Because many of these e-card trainers were actually added to the localized version of the game in the roughly 8 months it took the game to come to the West. You heard that right. What Japanese players had to buy separately, we got to play right out of the box. Some teams are slightly different, but since most teams change depending on the floor the trainers are fought on anyway, the differences are not worthy of mention. The same thing happened with the core element that sets Trainer Tower apart from other battle towers: the focus on speed. Completing a run through the tower in a certain time will reward you with an item. In the international version. In the Japanese version, you'll need to scan a special subset of cards known as the Tower Target Time subset in order to unlock this challenge and obtain the rewards. As such, in a way, I guess you could say the international versions of FireRed and LeafGreen are really a sort of DLC on the cartridge deluxe edition, even if it isn't really advertised as such. It's our reward for waiting half a year, I guess. But did it ruffle some feathers in Japan? I think the answer is a big fat no, because when the final Gen 3 game released later that year, Emerald, they basically did the exact same thing again. Trainer Tower was now Trainer Hill, right above Marvel City, but that's about the biggest change there was. Again, the Japanese version of the game does have a workable battle facility without e-reader cards, but it's incredibly basic. Well, we in the West basically got Trainer Hill, but what if we owned every card? Now, in Japan, they could of course customize the entire facility to their liking, we couldn't, but we also didn't have to pay extra for a working battle facility. Anyway, what is new about the Pokémon Battle E Emerald series is that for the first time the cards don't come in sets. Instead, you can buy only booster packs with random cards, which means, yes, there is absolutely no guarantee you'd even be able to get them all. Especially since there are 64 trainers available, with every booster pack containing 5 cards. Each booster pack costs 200 yen, which is about $1.50. So even assuming you'd get new cards every single pack, which is basically impossible as anyone who has ever opened multiple TCG packs knows, you would pay $12 extra for content we in the West more or less got right out of the box. And again, that's only if you never pack duplicates. I would wager that in order to get them all in practice, you'd need closer to at least $30–40 worth of packs, which is about the fee you pay for DLC nowadays. I think we can all agree the hidden treasure of Area 0 is a lot more interesting than a few Trainer Hill opponents. How these Pokémon Emerald cards actually performed, we have no way of knowing, since this was always gonna be the very last batch of them, with the upcoming Nintendo DS lacking e-reader support. Even if the Emerald card sold incredibly well, an entire peripheral only for Japan would have probably been a little overboard, so we truly cannot draw any conclusions from the Pokémon Battle E line ending here. Should you want to own some of these cards today, their value has definitely risen from $1 per pack, with 8 cards going for around $50, and that's from the sets released in the West even. One booster pack of the Japan exclusive Emerald series can now be bought from eBay for the low price of $300. And to think it was about $1 20 years ago. But that's how it goes with long forgotten Pokemon merch. Or do you have any memories from these cards? Did you perhaps own a few? Share it in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a like and subscribe to the channel to stay updated on all my future Pokemon content coming up. For now, thanks for watching and enjoy the rest of your day.